This video is sponsored by Surfshark VPN.
Show me again the power of the darkness. Show me, grandfather, and I will finish what you started.
Stop it! You miserable, whiny little shit!
I don't have to tell you things are bad. Everybody knows things are bad.
Star Wars obviously has the best villain of all time, Darth Vader. It took exactly this long to realise this guy should be feared, and then for 3 straight films his power was never in question. Right up to Vader's redemption he was always intimidating, never out of control, never erratic, cool, calm and in charge. And as far as costumes go, there is none better. We also understood why Luke wanted to help him. Their relationship made sense, and luckily there was no forced, cheesy love story. We had to wait for the prequels for that, and even that love story made way more sense than this shit.
Do you have something, a cowl or something you could put on?
They actually spent time together and he avoided slaughtering people in front of her. What a strong woman. Now it's pretty obvious that JJ and Kathleen Kennedy had no real interest in using the original characters. George had convinced Mark, Carrie and Harrison to come back, and now George was gone.
I sold them to the white slavers that take these things and
Okay, but Kathleen was stuck with them and had little interest in continuing their story. It was easier to reset one back to his younger self, which made him pathetic, and they changed the other 2 into completely different characters. All very stupid. Now, what's even more confusing than Kathleen's and JJ's lack of interest in the OT characters and what they could have done with them is their lack of interest in their own new characters that they created. Finn, who we all thought would have the most interesting story, was wasted. Poe became watered down Han.
You were a spice runner? You were a stormtrooper?
Were you a spice runner?
Were you a scavenger?
Rey's boring perfection. And Kylo. Well, Kylo is the biggest mystery. And not just his ever-changing level of power, but also his confusing relationship with, well, everyone. Now, this may come as a surprise, but I liked Kylo at the start. JJ got it right with that entrance, and it's my favourite scene from the 3 Disney sequels.
Look how old you've become.
To be fair, it doesn't have much competition, as it was followed by hours of shit.
You are so right.
The entrance had everything I think a reboot needs. It felt like Star Wars and had things we hadn't seen before. Kylo came out looking powerful and in charge, had a nice intimidating quality, and seemed ruthless. That wasn't to last long. Now, I didn't mind the first time he did this because I thought he would grow from here, but by the time these scenes happened, he just seemed pathetic. You really need to feel that your villain is intelligent enough and powerful enough to have gotten to the position they were in. Vader understood his power and when to use it. Kylo can't decide when to use his powers. He's so confusing. Actually, everything around him is confusing. The timeline of events, how old he was when he went off with Luke, how long had he hated Luke? Because surely this wasn't enough to send him on a rampage to kill everyone.
What you doing, Uncle Luke?
Thought I heard something. I get Luke made him live in a wooden hut, which honestly would make me want to kill everyone as well. I bet Kylo longed for the days when the Jedi lived in luxury penthouses, and this is when times are supposedly good and Luke is a universal hero. Come on, Padme, let's go live in a wooden hut with no electricity or toilet.
Anakin, I'm afraid.
You will be.
Kylo must have been the star student, because look how many of the others he killed. They couldn't even defend themselves.
He had vanished with a handful of my students.
He took a group with him. How long was Luke under there? He did all of this and convinced some of them to go with him?
He had vanished with a handful of my students.
Other students joined in? How bad was Jedi camp that a group turned on their friends and killed them just to get away from Luke and his crappy training? This group he took, are they the Knights of Ren? No. Well then what happened to those students? Just some rogue Jedi students tripping around the universe who also hate Luke. Great. Why was all this skipped over? This seems an interesting part of the story. May have also explained why he hates his parents so much. Imagine that. Imagine if they spent time on the story. Quick break to pay some bills. Don't leave. You'll want to know what this is about. Stuck at home because the world is in lockdown? Want the robot head lifestyle? Want the freedom to go off to Mexico to watch some wrestling? Then to Germany for whatever this is. Quick stop over to Amsterdam to pat the dog. Then finish up in Sweden for a little culture. Yes, you can live like this too. And you won't get raided by the man. All you need is a VPN, and the best VPN on the market is Surfshark. I should know. I was already a customer before they paid me. A VPN will let you travel the amazing interwebs without borders. Want to watch Netflix from another country? Do it. A VPN is a privacy protection tool which guarantees instant online safety. Surfshark encrypts all your data sent via the internet so that no one can see your password, private messages, steal photos, videos, sensitive data, or know what you're doing online, you sick bastard. You can also change which country you're accessing the internet from to access and unblock content. Surfshark offers you security when using public Wi-Fi. It bypasses censorship and lets you use the net how it should be, with freedom. And they are the only VPN to let you use them on all of your devices at no extra cost. Sign up now with the link below, use the code ROBOTHEAD and you will get 83% off plus an extra month free. It also comes with a 30-day guarantee. Join Surfshark today and I'll see you in Sweden tonight. Everyone around Kylo seems to be in a different movie to him and just as confused.
Take that ridiculous thing off.
Everyone that is except his dad. Han is the only person who acts like he's in the same story.
I miss you, son.
Even if he did spend years looking for the Falcon instead of his son.
We're home.
But Ben, out of the two of your parents, you should have cut your dad some slack. He at least cared, not like the other one. But we'll get to her. What about all these people? Did any of them grow up with Ben? Did any of them know him before he became Kylo? You think some of the girls would have remembered? Rey was ready to jump on him after he'd held her captive and killed someone in front of her. Imagine how charming he was before his slaughtering torture phase. If only we had some idea of what Ben's life was like before he became Kylo. But hey, we just didn't have time for that across these 3 very long films. This lost opportunity of a more meaningful Ben story was summed up beautifully in an illustration by Tyson Murphy. A simple telling of Ben and Chewie's relationship that has more feeling than the whole Disney trilogy. In these films, Chewie doesn't even recognise Ben. To be fair, he acts like he's had a lobotomy through most of the 3 films. Maybe he's been hanging out with Itchy too much. Oh, that awful feeling when you realise the holiday special has a more believable love story than Reylo. Leia is the worst at recognising who Kylo is. She forgets he's her own son. Yes, her only son.
Leia told me that she had sensed the death of her son at the end of her Jedi path.
That's why I wanted him to train with Luke. I just never should have sent him away. That's when I lost him.
She makes no attempt to talk to him, no attempt at bringing him around or saving him, which would save everyone else. She gave parenting a shot, and it wasn't for her apparently.
Leia knows what must be done, Auntie.
I am starting to understand why he hates her. She even set up Han to be killed.
There's still light in him, I know it. To his father. If you see our son, bring him home.
Ben!
Son of a bitch. I'm not going out there. Did you see what he did to Han? She even has time for a little comedy while her only son and twin brother fight to the death.
What are you looking at me for? Follow him.
She doesn't even have to be convinced to leave. Mother of the year. Quick, let's go before I have to talk to that loser.
I was just there. This man, this wizard, he took me to a castle.
Stop.
And
Stop! Stop it! You miserable, whiny little shit! You could have killed us!
Mark Hamill saw the new version of Luke as Jake Skywalker. Carrie, what did you think of this new, selfish version of Leia?
I like cocaine.
Yes, for some bizarre reason, once Dad is gone, the only person who cares for him at all is virtually a stranger. So where did the strange, inconsistent character of Kylo Ren come from? Who was responsible for this mess? Who thought up Kylo?
The villain in the movie Be Young. He's in the midst of adolescent angst.
And Kathy's like, Adam Driver.
Adolescent angst? Adam Driver? Yes, nothing says adolescent angst like a married man in his 30s. And people say she's not creative and that money doesn't make JJ agree to anything.
And Kathy's like, Adam Driver. We're like, mic drop.
Calm down, JJ, you've already got the job. So Kylo started life as a confused man-child character from the get-go, acting out teenage angst in a man's body. Listen, adolescent angst, interesting. Adam Driver, also interesting. But you can't have both as the one character. You can't say your story's about a young girl and then hire Ving Rhames to play her. Actually, these days, you probably should if you want to get work and not be seen as a cunt. Need you. He's a grown-ass man acting like a teenager, and it was on purpose. No wonder Star Wars has attracted a new crowd. He's a teenage wet dream. Kylo becomes such an afterthought in this story, a story that should be about him, that the last time he says something in a 2 hour and 22 minute movie is at the 1 hour 26 minute mark, nearly an hour with no dialogue. And at the end of the series, I would have liked one scene with Kylo and Leia together, but now I'd just be satisfied if they gave him a line of dialogue in the last hour of the movie. Literally thrown out of the scene so Rey Palpatine can shine. The Jedi come back to help her and not the Skywalker bloodline, his own relatives. And if the film had finished here, with Rey dead and Kylo alive, it would have been slightly redeemed and a lot more interesting. Don't do it. Their history together screams romance. Intergalactic trailer trash romance. Then he just lays down dead. Doesn't even get a Force ghost. What a waste. Poor Adam. He can at least act, not like some people. And he tried. If I'd watched the start of Force Awakens and then was in a serious car crash that had me going in and out of a coma, and I was only catching some of the Adam Driver scenes, I may have thought Kylo was great. But sadly, I haven't been in a coma, and I witnessed all the other scenes as well. All of it is in my brain now forever. Luckily, it's the end of the world, so forever will be quick. Kylo Ren is the perfect example of bad writing. Full of hate for very little reason, full of revenge for very little reason, and full of horniness for very little reason. Not a Sith, not a Jedi, just a tantrum-throwing, confused man-child. Rest in peace, Kylo. We did have such high hopes.
Tell me what? No! 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 No!